Okay, so I want to go back for a few seconds now. This actually, I want to kind of put forward a challenge to some people out there in the Hebrew Roots movement. Well, we'll talk about the Hebrew Roots movement in a second. I was looking at because I was talking to Lex yesterday, and I was actually talking to Rico Cortez yesterday as well. Something that we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But I was talking to Lex, and I was looking at his website and his YouTube channel again, and there was something that piqued my interest. It was did Jesus die? It was a video. Did Jesus die on Good Friday? Now, of course, I think anyone who listens to this show on a regular basis knows that this is very much my headspace right now because I'm writing my thesis on the Last Supper, and of course, to do that, I've had to spend a significant amount of the past 5 months in different scholars' ideas of the chronology of the Last Supper. Now, I'm the first to admit that the Last Supper chronology is mixed among scholars. So it's not a cut and dry. But I think that, in my opinion, and I could be wrong on this, but I think, in my opinion, newer scholarship is starting to lean towards a specific bent within the chronology of the Last Supper. One thing I've noticed now, Lex takes a Johannine chronology, as does Zach Bauer with New to Torah, as does 119 Ministries, okay? And the argument is that Yeshua was crucified on Nisan 14, which would be the preparation day for the Passover, okay? So he was crucified when they're trying to place him crucified when the Passover lambs were crucified for the night of Nisan 14. This would make it so that Yeshua's Last Supper was not, in fact, a Passover meal, but was what many scholars call a love meal. Okay, so that's a very, very short introduction. And the one thing that I've noticed is that most of these ministries and most of these guys don't seem to deal with three very specific passages. And I just want to throw these passages out there and ask our listeners, or ask anyone out there who's listening, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening or whatever, if you hold to a Johannine chronology, that is that Jesus or Yeshua was crucified on the morning of, or the afternoon, 12 o'clock p.m. on Nisan 14. What do you do with these passages? Now, this is before the Last Supper. Let's see here. I'm sorry. I'm going to come down here. Am I even in the right document? No, I'm not. I apologize. Give me a second. Okay, here we go. So what would you do with these? Matthew 26:17. Now, on the first day of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yeshua and asked, "Where do you want us to prepare for you to eat the Passover?" This is before the Last Supper. Okay, so nowhere, I can't find anywhere where the 13th of Nisan is referred to as the first day of unleavened bread. Now, there are places where the 14th of Nisan is referred to as the first day of unleavened bread, but we have clarification in the other synoptics. So Mark 14:12 says, "On the first day of unleavened bread, when they were sacrificing the Passover lambs, his disciples said to him, 'Where do you want us to go and prepare for you to eat the Passover?'" Now, this is before the Last Supper. The only time, in my opinion, that the Passover lambs can be sacrificed is on Nisan 14. They certainly couldn't be sacrificed on Nisan 13. And then also in Luke 22:7 we have, "Then came the day of unleavened bread, on which the Passover lambs had to be sacrificed." So just a little bit of a inquiry into some of our listeners' idea of, especially those who hold to a Johannine chronology. How do you take the idea that the Passover lambs were being sacrificed on the day that they ate the Passover meal, or the Last Supper, I should say?